Well, hello, you're most welcome back into Satisfactory with your host Gmodism. We're finally making this video, sorry for the delay. The series is not about to end, we're going to get back pretty soon with another video, I guess next week, like usual. We're back to usual schedule. This time, we're going to make an engine factory. So we need motors, they're called motors, not engines, and we're gonna do, well, a motor factory, because we have our steel somewhere around there, as you probably saw in the base tour. And as you probably also remember, we got some copper ingots here, so we can of course make some wires with these. So, to be a little bit more pedagogical, we're gonna do these motors, and to do them we need stators and rotors. This is a rotor, this is a stator, and this is of course only made with iron, and this is made with steel and well, steel pipes and copper wire. So as we can see right here, if we go, you can see that for a motor we need some rotors and some stator. Very nice. So let us dive into getting that to work, and then we need to go over to the steel receiving bus and look at some numbers. Right, so we should go through the numbers a little bit quickly. First, I would like to give out a huge thanks to all of those awesome people who are supporting this channel. Mainly the commissioned officers in the army of Gmodism, which is of course Captain Scoobrooks, Commander E.G. and Lieutenant Asteria, powered by Greed, Tyler Russ and LCG Canyon. And also to our YouTube members, most notably our stellar Gmodist LCG Canyon. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel, and if you want to support the channel, it helps me very much. Now, let's get to the numbers here. We need, as said, we need stators, and we need, let's go to this machine, we need stators and we need rotors. These are the rotors, we're making 4 per minute. And the stators, we can actually select them here. No, sorry. The stator, we're making 5 per minute. So, basically, we could draw this down to making like 4 per minute, and they are matched, but we're not going to do that. Because for our particular production, we will actually have a byproduct, and our byproduct will actually be automated wiring. We need automated wiring to complete the next phase. So we don't need to make a lot of automated wiring per minute, but we need some. So we should set this system to accidentally output some automated wiring, and we will be very happy. Right. So we are going to have 2 machines making stators at full speed and 2 machines making rotors at full speed. Then we're going to combine these into making the motor. And they are going to be quite matched, but we need to underclock it a little bit, so we'll be making only 4 per minute. But for this stage of the game, 4 per minute is absolutely enough. We don't need that many of them. So that's what we're going to do. And it's still gonna be a pretty big, facility. Because we're so advanced in the game, and hopefully you watch the earlier tutorials, because of course this is a tutorial playlist and let's play-ish, so each episode is building on the one in like front of it. So watch the series and you'll be very wise. In any case, let us indeed set this up. So we're gonna have motors here, and for this I've calculated we need something like 80 copper wires and 30 steel pipes per minute to make the stators. Let's see here. So it's 15 each. We're gonna have 2 of these, and they're gonna run at 100% speed, of course. So 15, that's 30 per minute. Then we are going to need, let's see, 200 screws per minute and 40 rods per minute. And this should amount to 90 ingots per... We need basically to input 90 ingots per minute. And this might be a little bit different. Now, I don't like to use alternate recipes in this tutorial. But there is one alternate recipe which I'm always trying to use, because it's just, you know, you should actually, if you haven't unlocked that, make sure you unlock this in early game, and this is alternate cast screw. In the, let's see here, in the second tutorial in this playlist, I go through how to make a perfect screw factory without this recipe. But because this number rounds off so perfectly, I'm going to use this cast screw. And it's really a smart little... it's a smart recipe to have, yeah? It really saves a lot of time, so I would recommend anyone to make sure you unlock this in early game. Because the thing is, when you are researching alternate recipes using hard drives, you need to do it in early game if you want early game recipes, and cast screws is an early game one. When you research hard drives later, you will get more advanced recipes, and then you kind of... You don't get the cast screws. So yeah, that's the thing. But by the way, if you are going to make your screws and not use cast screws, of course I'll need 4 machines casting screws to amount to 200. But if you make a setup that makes screws from rods with 100 and... it's gonna be 240 per minute, your facility will actually be more efficient, actually. But... this adds so many levels of simplicity. We'll do our rotors this way, because of course the screws is needed for the rotors. Yes. Iron ore. Oh, I had an unused one right here. I already knew that. So we're going to build the rotors first. So I'm going to make my iron factory, or iron mine here. And I'm going to put the Mark II miner down here. We're gonna underclock it. It's gonna be more efficient per energy, like that. But it's also because I probably want some more iron later, and then I can expand it. So actually, I can set this down to... I can actually write here. I always forget that. 90. Enter. There we go. Now it produces 90 per minute. This is exactly what we're going to need for this facility, and then we can use the rest of these... we can use the rest of this later if we want to. 90 per minute, that of course means that we need exactly 3 smelters. They're attached to the global grid, of course. Alright, so the iron smelters are set up. It's just a simple setup like this, and of these we're going to make some components. Alright, so here we have it, and I've set up the output from the smelters go into a merger setup, and they go into a splitter line that's connected up to all the machines that we should use. So I will now connect this belt, make sure it's not the Mark I belt, because that will be too slow, by the way. So now we shall remind ourselves exactly of what we needed. Of course I already did this, but for your sake. So we need 200 screws. Here we have 50, 100, 150, and there, 200, I mean. Right, and then we also needed 40 rods. See, here we have 15, 30, and we need 10 more. So we're gonna underclock this. Or just write in 10. No, God. Thank you. 66.66667%. 10. So this should be 200 screws and 40 rods. Very nice indeed. Now we can collect up this output and put them to some good uses, because of course, if you already forgot, this is the rotor factory. I'm gonna use the regular rotor recipe. We're gonna have 2 of these, yeah? 2 of these machines. Right, I'm going to show you how to set up these rotors using smart splitters. because this, I don't think we've done this before. And this is a pretty little like space-saving thing. Now this is a Mark III belt, yeah? This thing. And if you look into logistics, Mark III belt, we have 270 resources per minute. Now the combined output of all these constructors, right here, all these constructors, is 240. 200 screws and 40 rods. This means I have combined everything we make onto this band and just merged them together in a complete mess. You know, this is absolutely fine, because this Mark III belt is faster than the combined output. If this was not the case, it would have not been true, but this is the case. So now we can make sure that we take a Mark III belt and connect up this thing. This is of course a smart splitter. We're gonna connect up the smart splitters to each other, and we're gonna connect them up to the assemblers, I mean. Right, and what we do now is that center output will be any, right output will be screw. And the other one, any, for the forward one, and the other one will be iron rod. And the same is true, of course. One of these can be one of these, and this one, the screw one, can be this one. And now when we go into here, we go to and select rotor, and we go to and select rotor. Connect up some power, and they should now start receiving. Now we're of course a little bit full, the wrong stuff is at the wrong places here. So I made this thing, a little storage container, and we can now make this one center output be overflow. We can just insert it back here, so we can make sure that the materials start pouring in the right way here. And of course, we'll need to wait a little bit for it to be even and stuff like this. And stuff shouldn't pile up here really, but they can. And we can actually insert this back into this system. Now it's a little bit hard to find an input here because I just made this so extremely tight. Right, so this is a very compact system, as I'm sure you see. And it works very well. Now our efficiency is slowly climbing upwards, and the thing that can happen is that the goods kind of come in a little wrong order. So we had a little overflow thing where you just collected up all the stuff, and of course you can put them into the sink. But if you want to reach that higher efficiency, like max efficiency, I actually just took this, as I said before, and I took this line and I'm connecting it back into it again. You can see it's very rare that anything gets in here, and you can balance the system better so it doesn't happen, but you could also do like this, just connect it back into itself, because this is 100% matched, the output of the material and the input here. And it should be getting back into there, and they should come in a better mix, so you can see the rare little rod can come from time to time, but it's pretty rare. So in any case, what will happen, however, if these get full, this belt will clog up. So you might want to have a box there if you're not going to connect up these outputs here to something soonish. Of course, you could connect them up to an awesome sink in any of these stages, like I shown you before. Alright, so we need some wires made from copper ingots. And what I find really useful is when I connect up my lines, we can see we have a line coming from the box here, it's going right up here. And I know that back there it's 240 ingots per minute, and I need to use how much I'm using here. Because if I'm gonna steal more for this line, from this line, I need to know how much left I have. And right now it's, I have 240 minus 80, very easy to calculate like this, 160. So I just write it here so I know. And of course, we need to make a lot of wires, copper wires. I prepared this little thing here. So we have 15 copper wires, 30 copper wires per machine, and all of these 6 machines produce them in a nice little speed, except the last one, which only produces them, well, 10 per minute. And that is because we basically need a lot of them. Why is this? Well, thing is, we need to have 80 wires per minute to make the to make the stators. The two machines are going to make stators. They need 40 each, so 80 per minute. Then we are also going to use the output of stators to produce some extra automated wiring for the space elevator. And these they will require, for our particular setup, we need 80 wire per minute more. This means 160 wire per minute. So this is 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and 10. So 160. Right, so that was just that. We're gonna combine up this output and just see that 160, yes, we can afford, or we can stick that on a Mark III belt, so we're absolutely fine. Right, we are in the next step here. We have combined all these wires here, and we're going to input them. And I have been taking the steel pipes, which come from the steel receiving bus, and I just dragged out the line here, Mark 1, because it's they produce 60 at max anyways, and we're going to use 30 per minute. So I wrote the sign here to keep track of that and inserted them into the machines. Now we can set up them, and of course we're going to do stators. This is where we are going to do our stators. And as you can see, 15 per minute, and we're going to have 40 wire per minute. So go in here as well, and stator, and we need 40 wire per minute, so 80 wire per minute. That means at least Mark II belts to be able to transport these ones. We'll just do a little simple setup like that. And just for... Beautiful! And now they should feed the machines, and as soon as we connect them up to power, we have solved the stator manufacturing. And this will of course produce 10 stators per minute, and you might remember we have 8 rotors per minute over here, and that we're going to combine with a little overflow, so we're going to take care of the extra wires per minute and make some cables for the automated wiring. And there we go, power is connected up. So we add another splitter here, take the output to a splitter, and we're going to set up our cables here. So we have 30 per minute and 30 per minute. However, we only actually need, 40 per minute. So we're gonna have 2 machines. Enter, there. So we're gonna underclock them. And I don't know if you remember this, but you can just Control-C, Control-V, and this one is set up in the same way. So we should now have an output of cables, 40 per minute, and we should now be using, let's see here, 40, 40, 80, 80, 80, 160. We should now be using the entire line here. Entire lane. Very nice. Now we'll see where we're gonna solve that, but right, so the space elevator is over there. In this direction we could probably set up this machine, the extra assembler, and this assembler will naturally be making smart wires of the excessive, or smart wiring, what are they called? Automated wiring. We're gonna make the automated wiring of the overflow stators. So we're gonna underclock this. I think it was, let's see here, 2 per minute. Come on now. There we go. Then we have 2 stators per minute, and as you might understand, let's see here. We have 10 stators no, we have, yeah, 10 stators and minus 8 rotors. That's 2, so we have 2 stators in excess. So that's why we set this up to 80%, because then we use those excessive stators and these additional 40 cables that we're producing here. So we're just gonna put up a little merger thing and connect up the output of these things. Now that doesn't look so good. Well, like that. So we have one mark belt because it's 60 and this is total output of 40, so it's absolutely fine. Let's see if we can align it up a little bit neatly like this into that, and somehow we're gonna solve the excess stators as well. Anyways, these need some power. And one little power tip here, that's if you just have existing power lines, you can just upgrade them to Mark IIs and you can suddenly connect up more machines to them. Very nice. That one is already upgraded. Well. So here we are at the stators. And we're connecting up some mergers here. So that we can lead them away to the rotors over here. So that will be a little bit interesting, but in any case, now let's see here. This is exactly like this. We're gonna have 8 and 8. And of course, if we just put down a little assembler here, we can check the motor recipe. We can see they actually call for 10 of each. And that's why we're going to set them down to 80%. So they require 8 of both, and then we'll get 4 per minute. And that's very nice. And somewhere like that, we are merging together these and inputting them into this machine. This is of course where we're gonna make motors at 80%. Now we just need the stators to come here too. And one thing I will tell you, that is that you should definitely make a big container to collect your motors. Because you don't need a lot of them right now, but I will tell you, there is a specific time you will need a lot of them. So not saying more than that, but you know, just collect some of them, and you don't need to make a new motor factory to not make something else take forever. And thankfully, after the update, we can actually put things above machines like this. Isn't that beautiful? So the stators are popping in here as well. Very nice. We're getting so close. And then of course we need to take a little splitter here and drag the excessive ones to here. Now this should be a completely efficient setup. So you could of course make them be overflow, so only the overflow goes to this automated wiring facility. But it shouldn't really matter that much since we are since it's perfectly efficient. So we should just be able to do a splitter. Do as you wish. This thing is going to be exchanged with a splitter to solve my logistical headaches. See, like that. And then we can take out the other portion over here and drag it there. Yeah, you'll see where I'm going with this. And yeah, this is not the tutorial which you have asked for with the most like not messy, easy maintainable factory. Unfortunately, this is another one of my box-in facilities that looks pretty good, does kind of work very well, but is a little bit, you know, we're not doing hard clipping, so it's not like we're breaking any rules or design rules, but we are of course a little bit on the edge here in terms of serviceability, or whatever we should call that. Yeah, I think you see what I mean here. Exactly like that. And this should be using them so slowly, so they're gonna stack up here and chill a little bit. Of course it will take some time to actually fill up that line, but it should indeed work perfectly fine. So, Nice. Is it just me, or I just can't bring myself to remove these paleberry bushes? Because I'm thinking like they can be good to have later sometime maybe. I don't know if it's only me, but I like to kind of, you know, make small protected areas with them. Maybe we can even, I mean, we won't disturb them with buildings like this, so we could technically just, you know, maybe do like this so we can go down here and pick him. I'm gonna keep it in the factory. Maybe we can put a light on top of it too. Who knows? In any case, we are now producing. So, as I said before, we're gonna go to logistics and drag out some... No, not logistic. Organization. And drag out some big containers. See if we can fit 2 of them. Maybe even. That would be even better. Then we can really stock up on them. Indeed, we can fit 2 big containers. Isn't that nice? And we're connecting them up like that. Why is these 2 different? Oh, this interesting. Alright, let's see if we can line them up. It can be a little bit hard sometimes to see whatever angle. You look, it looked straight, didn't it? And this is probably why we can climb up exactly everything. Alright. Now we can see that should do it. Thank you. And there we go. Engines are being produced. So let's go over this facility. Let's see here. It's 80%, so 4 per minute. Very nice. Going in here. 4 seems balanced. And our little interesting back loop system like that. You can see this means that the stators have been filled for a while. And this also means that this is now clogged up. And that was because we let this, we let the rotors fill up to 100, so they were absolutely full. And that meant that the belt were clogging up. So to keep it flowing, we need to remove some stuff. But now it should be running again. We can see we're getting back to efficiency there. Yeah. And it takes a little time for them to balance out. But they were at 100% before, so they will again. It's just that we let these be full with rotors. And they're using 8 per minute, so they should be using everything that gets used. We can see the stators are stacking up over there too. And just check the stators over here. We have 5 per minute here. And 5 per minute there, which is 10. Then we have the excessive ones going into this machine, making us automated wiring. And of course, the automated wiring, we should drag that down to the smart elevator too. Everything is not called smart in this game, Gmodism. It's called the space elevator. And as you probably remember, we have a little bus system over there. We're gonna bring the, well, automated wiring over there. And we're going to link them up to the overflow awesome sync system so that the excessive ones are automatically sunken. But what we're basically doing, we're going to have a stationary box where we will just automatically get to store some stators. Now, we don't really use stators that much to build stuff, so it's not something we kind of, you know, have to have a dedicated factory of. The only thing I know we use the stators for is when we're making these, the power storages, which is of course a very nice addition to have. But that's what we use stator for, from what I remember. I think it's only that actually. So to be able to make these without handcrafting stators, you of course need a little, well, some stators. So we're just gonna put some stators in this box. They're going to collect here extremely slowly. And whenever we steal something from there, this facility will be a little bit less efficient. But that doesn't matter, because we still don't want to handcraft our stators. So here we have a little box of stators, so we can just come here and get them when we need them. We're gonna probably make it a little bit easier, but you can see the first one I popped in there. There we have them coming out there. We're going to, of course, now box in this facility and make it look a little bit nicer. But the function of this factory should actually be complete by now. So that's very nice. Let's get some more concrete. We're boxing this thing in. We're gonna connect these automated wiring, but we're gonna do that later because, frankly, yeah, frankly, I've been sitting here for a while. I will not tell you how much, but making motors in Satisfactory, it is a project. So since you need to build an efficient rotor factory, basically, you need to build lots of stuff, basically, and that's kind of why it's. I'm gonna steal them from here because I'm lazy. Yeah, it's like making several factories, several big factories in one video, because it's like, yeah, it's a little bit more advanced piece. And I thought that maybe I should part this up to several videos and make like one for making rotors efficiently, but then I felt like, now why should I do that? I already have a tutorial on making all the stuff you need in assemblers. That wasn't very handy of me. So I thought that no, better keep it efficient and better keep it serious like this. So engines it is. And even though it's many steps, it's still one component. And since it's already such a complex system, it's so easy just to get those smart wirings for free. And that's really, really, really awesome. Anyways, we are soon very done. As you can see, we're boxing this in, and I don't have an entrance yet. And I'm going to think a little bit of where we're gonna have the entrance and where we're gonna pick up our parts. Right now, we only have this kind of, if we just bungee jump ourselves down here a little bit, you can see that, no. All right. My electric, my transport network has gotten a little bit hard. Yeah, so right now we can go here and look at our engines, motors I mean, yeah. Isn't that nice? Wait. Okay, that was good, I guess. So, it seems that our system is still a little bit prone to clogging up like this. Well, I love it's like one screw off and it gets clogged up. So yeah, there is a very small chance this thing happens, but it can spiral out of control. So then I learned something new as well. This should work perfectly on theory, but because of the small retardation on the conveyor belts, it is actually so that if it gets a little bit off like this, we actually need to put up a awesome sink to the overflow. So if one rod once in a while gets wrong, we'll basically need to sink it. And I suppose this will make it not 100% efficient anymore, but probably 99.9% efficient or something like that. But that happens, so yeah, we're just going to temporarily throw in an awesome sink here. I'm going to connect it up to some nicer awesome sink line, but right now I just want a quick fix. There we go. Sometimes it's just hard to make it all that perfect. Sometimes it gets unbalanced and we need to fix it. So that's maybe the trade-off of making super sleek and like very compact systems like this, a single line with smart splitter inputs like this, is that there is of course always a potential that it will clog up. And that's especially true since we are requiring 240 materials per minute, and this belt's capacity is 170, and the closer these numbers are, the more likely it will be we will have some sort of clog up like this. Yeah, well, so away with the backfeeding loop, and now our motor facility should finally be very nice. It seems like it overproduced rods this time. Last time it was screws that clogged up the system, but this time it seems that the rods were clogging up. And it gets worse because, you know, these, of course, they are stocking up their pile here. To actually make this start running a little bit nicer from the get-go, we should probably actually sync those things a little bit faster. And this is because we have stockpiles in each and every of these machines. They're kind of stocking up on lots of materials, and that's, you know, what causes it. So now let's see here, it start 7% efficiency. I wonder if it would have helped if we had mixed the units that were producing screws and rods kind of evenly. I think that better kind of party mix coming in here should probably prevent this issue a little bit better. But I'm glad I found it before ending this video, because if I didn't, that would have been really sad. Anyways, this is our motor factory, and I think it's decently glorious. And we can build on top of it too. So we have a big slab of area to build some more. Gonna output that automated wiring, and well, now we are getting 4 motors per minute, as well as an extra box actually of stators that we might need, or that we will need rarely, but anyways. And of course, all that. So, again, thanks a lot for everyone who is supporting this channel on Patreon or YouTube membership. It really helps, and hope that you have watched this thing, also enjoyed this episode. And we will be back next week with another episode in our little Satisfactory Let's Play tutorial series thing. So, see you next time. This is your host Gmodism. We're signing out.